Hello everyone, this is Ponder on Weather. In this update, we've got major storms coming over the next 5 to 6 days, bringing a strong tornado risk, damaging winds, and some heavy snow in its path. Good morning everyone, this is your Friday update. And let's take a look at the overall surface map for this morning. And man, those storms in Oklahoma last night were really packing a punch with some very large hail. You can actually see where the surface low is this morning. On the back side of that, we've got snow breaking out in Wichita, Kansas, back into Omaha, Nebraska, and there's not terribly too much cold air to work with. But down here in the warm sector, down here in the south, that's where things start to get nasty already, and it's continuing throughout the day with a tornado watch, and those stronger storms have reached the New Orleans area, back into Birmingham, Alabama this morning, Huntsville. So those areas are going to be packing a punch. So let me zoom in to the tornado watch that's currently in effect between now and 10 o'clock this morning through March 18th for several strong tornadoes and some isolated ping pong size hail, as well as some 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts in around the New Orleans area, into Gulfport, back into Mobile, going into Hattiesburg. So this area is going to be under the gun really for the next several hours for that strong tornado risk, and some of those larger hailstones are going to be falling. But let me expand the view, because it's not just that area. It's a huge area, and that is that 10% hatched risk that the Storm Prediction Center has put out. That's the risk that could bring those strong tornadoes of that EF2 type variety or bigger, unfortunately. So if you live in the Montgomery, Alabama area, back into Mobile, back into Auburn, those areas will be the most susceptible to seeing some of those stronger type tornadoes. But yeah, if you live anywhere from Nashville to Atlanta, Georgia, back into Louisville, Kentucky, through Birmingham this morning, back into Columbus of Georgia, you're still going to be at that little bit higher risk for seeing some of those tornadoes for the rest of the day. So let's break this down and take a look at the overall radar depiction, what it would look like about 9 o'clock this morning. Those storms are coming out of New Orleans, heading into Mobile, getting into Birmingham area with those stronger storms. This area is going to be rotating, so definitely be on high alert and have your NOAA weather radio handy and get in your safe zone with these storms moving at 40-50 miles an hour. And on the back side of that, the surface low is bringing some snow showers, but just rain into portions of Missouri, back into portions of Iowa, getting into portions of Illinois. And that's about 9 o'clock this morning on Friday. But if we expand the view and continue into the afternoon, that risk down to the south just feeds back into pushing further into the Alabama area, getting into portions of Georgia here, as well as the entering parts of the Carolinas. And then you have that northern branch on the northwest side of there. It's just going to be trying to wring out some very just kind of wet snow by then into portions of Iowa, but all rain should be pounding in and around the Illinois area. But as we move into your Saturday morning time frame, that kind of fishtails out. So the storm threat is now going to be all along the East Coast. So that's not going to be happening until the afternoon. But during the morning hours, you're going to be seeing some heavier rain showers in and around the Long Island area, getting into portions of Connecticut, as well as into Massachusetts, where it's just that upper level low is trying to kind of lose its luster a little bit and not be nearly as intense as it was just 24 hours prior. But it's still going to be packing a punch as these storms moving off the coast, as it starts to take advantage of some of that daytime heating into the Saturday afternoon time frame. So if you live along the Virginia Beach, into Norfolk, into Chesapeake, back into Newport News, all the way down to Tallahassee, those areas are going to be under the gun to seeing those stronger storms. And some of those you could have kind of an isolated tornado threat as well. And then you also have another slight risk up here into portions of Pennsylvania and southern New York here. But let's take a look at the overall tornado risk. with this setup as we get into that Saturday time frame. And yeah, we kind of have a bullseye around, Virginia Beach area and Newport News area. That's the area that's a little bit more susceptible to seeing some of those stronger tornado risk. I don't think the tornado is going to be nearly as strong as what you're going to be seeing today further down to the south, but still you could be looking at an isolated tornado threat up here. So definitely be on a high alert as we get into your Saturday afternoon time frame. I think it kind of dies down a little bit on Sunday as the atmosphere really kind of reloads itself, but we have another dynamic trough that's going to be setting up off the West Coast while the rest of the country just kind of more or less just aggravates the atmosphere with a lot of the southwest wind. These temperatures really start to warm up, and then you have this western trough that's going to be clashing into that air mass, and we have a pretty big dynamic low-level jet that's going to be really digging by the time we get into your Monday time frame, digging all the way down into portions of Mexico here, pulling up that southwest wind as the dew points start to creep up. And we've got 3 days for the atmosphere to kind of really recover from those last night storms in portions of Texas. And by the time that happens on your Monday time frame, your dew points are well into the 60s. They're not going to be in the 50s or 55 and just barely pushing 60 like they were last night that kept the storms really at bay. Now we're talking 65, 68, almost 70 degree dew points. That changes the game as we have another dry line, upper level low setup with that very strong low level jet, and even a lot more powerful than what you've seen in the previous 2 events. So that's what has me really concerned about the Monday setup. As you take a look at the lightning index, as we get into the afternoon, as those dynamics really start to kind of feed together and come together, we should have numerous storms breaking out over central Texas and the North Texas and portions of Oklahoma here, as things really start to come together, as that upper level low will be setting up over portions of Colorado with a wraparound, and that could be a pretty significant snow event and another dynamic upslope snow event. That last one kind of overperformed, and I think this one's going to be every bit of that and more. But yeah, down into central Texas and North Texas, the Storm Prediction Center already has an enhanced risk, even 4 days out, guys. So this is going to be a significant event over central Texas, East Texas, and to portions of North Texas as we get into the day on Monday for Waco and Tyler and College Station, down into Longview, down into Bryan, College Station area, and as well as all the way down into Houston and down into Austin, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, into Arlington. Yeah, those areas are going to be under the gun, and I do feel this is going to be just kind of expanding, and we could be looking at a moderate risk by the time we get into your Monday time frame, as everything really starts to come together with all those dynamics into play. But that just continues to push off into the southeast as we get into your Tuesday, March the 22nd time frame. And look at the dew point. I mean, man, we're talking basically almost April and May type dew points. So that's going to be adding the fuel to these storms. And when you got 70s dew points instead of the 50s or 55 or 60s, that changes the game a lot, as those dynamics are really going to be starting to clash together. And I'm definitely concerned, even in this area, as we get into the day on Tuesday with another dynamic setup taking shape. But look at the massive surface low that takes shape on Tuesday. I mean, you got the upslope up here in the Rockies. You got all the wraparound moisture. You have the dynamic lift. You got all those warm temperatures off into the Gulf of Mexico, and you got a lot of shear that's happening at the same time with the strong low-level jet. Winds are going to be changing directions at heights, and that is going to be setting the stage for, unfortunately, some strong tornadoes down here into portions of Louisiana, as well as in portions of Mississippi, as we get into that Tuesday timeframe. So there's the Storm Prediction Center already highlighting that enhanced risk. I mean, this is kind of a rare feat that they do this far out. I mean, this is not that common that you see these with all the dynamics, and that's why this certainty, even this far out, has concerns. And we could actually be looking at back-to-back moderate risk days for severe weather. So you looks like a pretty big event coming up. Could be Monday, Tuesday, even into Wednesday of next week. Those are your high alert days. But there's your Tuesday risk into Jacksonville, into Meridian, back into Vicksburg, into Pearl, Mississippi, so into Birmingham again, where they're getting hit hard this morning. They're going to be getting hit again because they've, once that system moves out, they've got 4 days to recover. So you got 4 days for the atmosphere to kind of clear itself out and kind of reload, and it's going to be reloading in a big way, and it's even going to come back stronger than I think what it is right now. So that is definitely the concern as we get into your Tuesday time frame. But there's the low level jet into Wednesday. It's still very dynamic. I mean, you're still pulling all that Gulf moisture, really digging really far south. That's kind of a unique setup. I mean, you don't see this for a multi-day breakout like this, and it could be a severe weather breakout for that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, as all these dynamics really start to come into play, and that shifts the severe risk further off into the southeast and heading into portions of back into Georgia, into the Carolinas by then, because look at the dew points. I mean, all these dew points up north are plenty cold. I mean, you typically need about 55 degrees. That's kind of the threshold where you're going to kind of activate, and with those upper level low systems that come across, to activate some of that severe weather. So, but when you're talking, dew points in the 65s, closer to the 70 range, that is pretty significant, and we're going to be seeing that for really 3 days into portions of the southern plains into the southeast, and that just shifts the severe risk by the time we get into Wednesday off into places into Mobile again, back into Columbus, Georgia, into Tallahassee, or the Florida Panhandle, where you're going to be getting hit hard again this morning. You're going to be getting hit hard again for your Wednesday time frame back into Macon, Georgia. So definitely be on high alert, even as we get into your middle of the week next week for March the 23rd time frame. So hey, I appreciate you guys watching. Definitely be safe out there today. Listen to all weather radios. Have your weather radios handy, and keep your safe zone, and get in there and get out of harm's way, because it looks like to be a dangerous day. Not just for today, but even portions of the day tomorrow, but definitely going into Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, where I really plan on going live, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week, to keep you ahead of the storm and keep you out of harm's way as well. So I appreciate you guys watching. Do like this video, and definitely leave your comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel to catch the latest update where I protect you before and after storm.